all that. I'm still trying to, I'm gonna get it though. I'm gonna get it. If I gotta create my own song, I'm definitely gonna get that. So listen, as people coming in, I do want us to go ahead and get started. Thank everybody for coming out to our very first mental health and wellness, the momentum of the mind. So thank you guys for coming out. You're actually part of making history with Virginia Therapy Services. We're a mental health agency, and we're so concerned about the mental health of everybody, right? Even a concern about our mental health. So I promise you, this weekend is going to be epic, right? It is going to be epic. It's going to be different. And so I'm excited about that. So today we have none other than Dana Leaphart. She's going to open us up. I'm telling you, she's going to change the way that you think. Things is going to begin to just shift. Things you're going to be able to understand things. So I am so glad for that, and I'm so appreciative for that. Right after her, then we go into lunch, and then we come back for none other than Dr. Delandro. Both of these women are experts in their right, and I trust them not only with my life, I trust them also with the lives of the people. And what I love about what Dr. Delandro is coming back with, we call her the credit coach, right? And I was sharing with someone this morning, and I was sharing with them that, listen, how many know that your credit score has a lot to do with your mental health? See, that's only for people that understand the importance of their credit score, right? Because when I started getting my credit together, and I'm going to tell Dr. Landro, thank you, right? Because now she got me watching my credit score. Every time I get a alert, I go run and see. Even if it go at one point, I'm ready to shout with that it goes at one point. Because what that means is giving me access to go buy what I want to buy. Or for somebody else's stuff, right? And then so we still got to work with the mental health, because the mental health is, we don't want you going out and just buying stuff, just be buying stuff, and then get caught up behind debt and all of that. So I'm excited about that when she comes this afternoon. She also have an ebook that she put together that she's going to make sure that you guys had access to it. So I'm so super excited about that. And then somebody say Saturday. Right? You know, I've been hearing people say, where the men at, right? When it's talking about mental health. And so we have two great male speakers. Y'all, they single too. I just want to put that out there. Right? No, they're your babies. I can't look at you. They're your babies, right? Two great awesome men that's going to be teaching tomorrow. We got Victor Denson that's going to be teaching on the momentum of the mind. We have Kayvon Purdy that's going to be talking about men and mental health. Ladies, we need to understand that, right? I'm not going to even touch that, but got to understand got to understand the men in your lives, right? And the men that's going to come in your life if you don't have a man in your life, right? So you got to understand they go through mental stuff as well. And then no other than all the way from North Carolina, we have none truly than Cheryl Meredith. Let's put our hands together. Lift your hand. Just raise your hand up in the air, right? Right? And so this mental health conference is about things that's going to push you into your next. And what she's going to be talking about is legacy. She's going to be talking about legacy. What I mean by that, she's going to begin to tell you how important it is to leave an inheritance to your children. Right? And a lot of people say, I can't afford it. Hear me. Let me help you understand. Yes, you can. I don't care if you're leaving them $5. That's an inheritance, right? Listen, I'm in a better place today because of the inheritance that my mother left me. Right? That's how Virginia Therapy Services got funded, because mom left me an inheritance. And so because mom left me an inheritance, I'm able to walk out that vision. So when you see this vision, I'm standing on the back of my mother. Right? You see, you know Lorraine, I'm standing on that, right? Because mom thought enough to put a legacy together, and it's not that expensive, right? And I'm going to turn it over to her. So now one thing that the Lord is dealing with me with this, he said, don't wait till they die to give them their inheritance. So now the Lord is dealing with me is to give my kids their inheritance while I'm living, so I can see how they're going to manage that inheritance, right? So I said, God, where the money at then? So we're going to talk about the importance of leaving a legacy. I'm not going to put it out there because I know my son is going to be listening, but I am actually working on a legacy for one of my sons. Right, I'm working on his legacy. Right, and then this morning, my other one, who you'll be hearing speaking tomorrow, he has a vision. So he don't know Mama get ready to push that vision. Right. And then I have a son that's a barber, and I want to put the business out. But when give me about 2 months, and you're gonna see how I put my sons in their legacy. Right? So it's not all about money, but I'm getting ready to fix it where they can make money. And then maybe on Christmas and my birthdays, I get bigger gifts. Right? And so listen. So I want you, if you're a parent here, I want you to begin to look at that. You want to be able to leave your children something. All right. Again, I don't care if it's $2 or $5. It's not the amount that you're going to leave them. It's the fact that my mother or my father thought about to leave me something. Right. So I won't have to struggle. Okay. But listen, I hear you. And even if you don't have a good relationship with your parents, you can make a difference with the next generation. So are we ready to make a difference with the next generation? Are we ready for that? And then we're going to close it out. We're going to definitely close it out. So you won't see the church part really come in until Sunday, right? You want to see the church part? Yeah, yes, I am a preacher, but the Lord has given me the okay to not make Friday and Saturday churchy. But somebody say Sunday. Man, we going to break it down up in here on Sunday, right? The woman of God all the way from North Carolina, Maple Hills, North Carolina. She is coming. She has the right to release prophetic words over our lives. And you're just going to see the great things that God has in store for you. So that's all I have to say. I'm going to move out of this great woman of God way. And listen, I do want to put this out here. Even though we're not really going churchy, but we still men and women of God. Right? So this is an anointed woman of God. And what God's getting ready to release, it's going to change your life. Right? So I want you to know that God has, listen, anointed counselors. Right? And I'm one of them. She's one of them, right? So God is using his people in that so we can begin to help the lives of the people. So I'm going to move. I'm going to let Miss Dana begin to share who she is, tell her a little bit about her story, and have her way. Is that all right? All right. Love you, Mom.
Good morning. Can you all hear me okay?
Got it, babe?
Good morning. Good morning.
It's on.
I'm glad to see you guys. Y'all looking good.
Aren't they looking good?
Do they really need mental health help?
Yes.
Do they really need it?
Yeah, we do.
Because y'all glowing.
They are glowing.
Y'all might know something already. So our conference is about wellness.
Yeah.
We have all types of aspects of wellness. We want to be resilient. So I'm here to talk about resilience, and I'm here to talk about how we can address some challenges that our mind brings upon us, whether it is just some issues that we have or whether it is an actual disorder. Either way, we need to deal with it so that we can have a quality of life and we can be resilient. Can you guys see the screen? I really would like for you, maybe in your bag or in your purse, to get a pencil and paper, something to write with, because this is going to be a lot of information packed in a small amount of time. And I want you to be able to have the tools when you leave here. So we're going to do strategies for mental wellness and overcoming mind challenges.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, ma'am?
Like I'm at home, my bad. So I'm Dana Leapart. I am a licensed clinical social worker, eligible. So next month, I actually will take my test, and we have. And it has really
Been a long time coming.
Yes, it has been a journey. It has tested my mental health. It has tested my resilience. It seems like on that journey, everything happened.
That's good.
It was like I was being hazed. Everything happened when I was trying to get my degree,
Come on.
when I've been trying to get my hours. We have to get 2,000 clinical hours. I've been, Apostle has been counseling me to kind of work through it. Part of it is me, part of it's them. But either way, we're going to get what's mine. Either way.
Either way.
Well, can we go to the next slide? Okay. Go to the next slide too. All right. So this is like a crash course, guys. So I need you to be alert. I need you to be with me. I need you to be engaged. This is going to be interactive. I'm not going to just be up here talking at you. It's going to be interactive. So we're in a safe space
Yes, we are.
so we could be real. Okay. All right. So I'm telling you a little bit about myself, obviously, and I want you to know why this is significant. We have to understand how mental wellness is significant in our lives. We want to identify and address the challenges that we have as we do self-sabotage. Well, what is that? It's like procrastination, perfectionism, distorted thinking, comparing ourselves to others. It's a lot of things that we do to stop our progress. So it makes it like it's self-defeating. And everybody has this because it's built in. So if we can use the tools that I'm about to show you, then we can counteract it. I'm going to show you what I mean. And this is evidence-based. Okay, so we want to develop emotional intelligence. Does anybody know what emotional intelligence is? Anybody? Take a wild guess. Anya, what's emotional intelligence? I know y'all heard of artificial intelligence, but I'm talking about emotional intelligence. Uh-huh. 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 Like self-awareness. Okay. I like it. I like it. So we're going to get practical strategies and tools so that we can overcome this self-sabotage and we can develop emotional intelligence. Okay. So listen, the first thing that we got to do before we can go anywhere is get rid of some baggage. I want y'all to peep this. face adversity. Accountability, that's a big one. Mental wellness is accountability. Forgiveness, self esteem, discipline. What about discipline, y'all? Anybody know anything about discipline? Healthy relationships, mental wellness. Okay, so mentally healthy people value themselves. So we got to level up. What does that look like? Stop lying to yourself. Be courageous enough to own your own stuff. If you're lying to yourself, then guess what? You're lying to everybody else. And we all have certain value systems that are probably very similar. And one of them is honesty and integrity, right? Those are values. But if you're lying to yourself, then you cannot be truthful with others. Then is that living up to the value system that you have of honesty and integrity? So that's, again, we have to look inward and do that self-reflection. We have to do the work. So another thing that I noticed about mentally healthy people is you have no competition. Apostle, you have no competition. Mm-mm. Your only competition is you. Keep raising the bar and just be better than you were yesterday. Understand this, Apostle. Understand you can't take everybody with you. You can't take everybody. We got to understand that. We don't want to be like MC Hammer. We take everybody and then we end up with nothing. No resources, not just money, but energy, emotional strength, time, all your resources, not just money, but you pouring into other people and taking them. They may not want to go and they may not be ready to go, or just may be too heavy. And it keeps you from reaching your goals, your potential. It makes you die inside just a little bit because you're not tending to yourself, you're tending to everyone else. This is a good one, guys. Learn to tolerate the distressing emotions that come with changing your behavior. It's going to hurt. It's times you're going to suffer. You got to be comfortable with knowing that that's temporary and that's just how it is. When you try to avoid the pain, everything gets worse. You just got to know, okay, growing pains, it hurts. Sometimes life just throws curveballs, but we can't just crumble and fall apart because we think we're not supposed to hurt. Can somebody give me some water? So you can withstand the pressure. There's resistance sometimes when we're trying to move forward. Okay, I want to do something with y'all. I want to show you something. We're talking about leveling up, right? Okay. Hopefully you can hear me. I'll speak up. Talk to yourself. Talk to yourself. Talk to me. I talk back. Talk to yourself. So, self regulation, motivation. What is motivation? April, I know you know. What's motivation? Yes, yes, yes. How do you get motivation? How do you get motivated? Yes, share. You talk back? Okay, but do you talk too much? Okay. Okay. All right, so we're gonna learn how to develop emotional intelligence. I'm just gonna give you some tips because, like I said, this is a crash course. I want you to write this down because I can't get it all in. But I'm gonna touch the tip of the iceberg. When you are developing emotional intelligence, and I know I will get an amen with the beautiful lady over there in the orange. Don't talk too much. You don't have to tell everything. You don't have to, sometimes just observe. Silence is powerful. It says a lot when you're just silent. And then when you have something to say, really have something to say, people will listen because they know that you're not always running your mouth. Prayer, meditation, self reflection, and release that extra baggage. It weighs you down. Invest in yourself. Invest. I have seen people that, I've worked with a lot of different people, all walks of life, but they'll go buy a $300 shirt or they'll go buy a really, really nice car with this high car note, high insurance, high property taxes, but they won't invest in themselves to go to school. They won't invest in themselves to learn a trade. They won't invest the extra money they have in an IRA or learn about how to invest. But someone else's company. But then they'll go out and buy other things that's not going to serve them at all. They won't invest in themselves. So are you not worth it? We talked about setting healthy boundaries. Here's a good one, guys. Be vulnerable and be okay with being yourself. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I'm just going to kind of be transparent. I went through a long time thinking that I had to be a certain way, represent a certain way. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But when things were going on, I wouldn't ask for help. I wouldn't share. I just kept the straight face and smiled and suffered when it wasn't necessary. I have support systems, but I'm like, people are looking up to me. People are expecting this and expecting that. So I can't let them know what's going on. And let me tell you what kind of thinking that is, guys. That's shame-based thinking. And shame will keep you shackled with like all of those bags. It will keep you from moving forward. So tell your story when you need to tell it. Use discernment, but that's who you are. And half the time, don't nobody care. They don't. They don't care. I mean, it's just part of life. Everybody got a story. So why is my situation bigger than yours? Why my low credit score is a big deal? Why is my divorce a big deal? Why is that I had a child out of wedlock a big deal? Nobody think about that. But I'm operating in all this shame. Not good. This is part of emotional intelligence. Okay? So be vulnerable. Be okay with being yourself. Don't worry about if somebody's going to like you or not like you, or whether somebody's going to support you or give you a pat on the back. Just be you. And if it needs to be cultivated and polished, and if you need to grow, so be it. You'll do that. But you still got to be able to be yourself and be okay with that and love yourself, no matter who don't like it. Endurance. Endurance. Y'all know anything about endurance? Stress management. Regulated emotions. There we go with that self regulation again. And self awareness. You got to know what's going on with you. Okay, now, guys, there is a difference between a strong person and a powerful person. There's a difference, okay? So, especially as women, well, men too, we're told we need to be strong. Be strong. We have to handle this, handle that. Don't cry, don't stop, be strong. Okay, but let me tell you something. That's survival mode. You in survival mode. Yeah, you strong. You doing all this. You in survival mode. But a powerful person, they're thriving. They're not in survival mode. They're operating in power. It's a difference. Okay, so what is resilience? Now we talked about emotional intelligence. Resilience is the ability to adapt to adversity, trauma, or stress and maintain psychological well-being. So all this is going on, but you maintaining. You're not losing your mind. You're not dying on the vine. You're not like, I can't function. That's resilience. You know, Donnie McClurkin's song, We Fall Down, But We Get Up. My dad had this saying he used to say to us. I don't know, Andre, you're so much younger than me. He in here somewhere. My brother in here somewhere. Yeah. But he used to say, be like the tennis ball, not like the egg. The tennis ball bounced back, but the egg breaks. He used to say that when I was younger, and now I understand what it meant. He was telling me to be resilient. Okay, so now what impacts our ability to adapt to adversity? All of this sounds good, but what can impact it? It's the way we see the world and the way we engage with the world impacts our ability to adapt to adversity. It is the availability and the quality of social resources, and it's whether we have specific coping strategy. This all impacts our ability to handle adversity, to be resilient. All right. Now, I know here at the ministry, you guys have been working and dealing with your thoughts. So you know already that your thoughts can make you or break you. Okay? And how does this work? So you have a thought. The thought is connected to your feelings. And guess what? Your feelings are connected to your behavior. A lot of times we are not even aware of the thoughts that are behind what we're doing. Like I said, a lot of times it may be shame-based thoughts. A lot of times it may be thoughts of feeling inadequate, thoughts that we have something to prove, thoughts that we're not good enough, thoughts that we're slighted in some way. All these different thoughts of comparing ourselves to other people, thoughts of nothing ever works out for me, why try anyway? So then our behavior is bizarre, or it's just not functioning at all, it's slow. For me, like when I get stressed, that ADHD kicks up. Like right now, my phone is at home. So, you know, it happens. But I just want you guys to know that these behaviors have thoughts behind them. That's where the self-reflection comes, the journaling, everything that you need to do so that you know how to break the cycle. Can you see the cycle? Okay. All right, so I'm going to give you something to think about. You think 50,000 thoughts in one day. 50,000 thoughts, that's a lot. You would think you would be tired, but that's how the brain works. But most of them are repetitive thoughts. Like you thinking the same thought every day, every day, every day. And so much that they become automatic and they become hardwired in your brain, and you're not aware of what you're thinking. So how do we integrate new information if these thoughts, these old thoughts, these repetitive automatic thoughts are lodged in our brain, are hardwired in our brains? How do we do it? What influences our thoughts? Okay. Our caregivers, our trauma, shame, like I told you, your temperament, social media. That's why they call them influencers. It influences our thoughts, our identity. If you are in a space of negativity and low energy for like 15 minutes or more, if you allow that to stay just for 15 minutes, depression and anxiety set in. If you allow it stay longer, like a day, it becomes a pathology. Now you have a diagnosis. So what I'm saying to you is when it comes, you might have to kind of work with it a little bit. Things happen, they hurt, things happen, you're confused, you don't know what to do, but don't stay there. If you have support systems, reach out. Get up and move. You stay there for 15 minutes, it starts. You stay there for a day, you're stuck. Oh, I want to go back. Can you go back, Nadia, and I'll just look at the screen? No. Oh, sorry. No, not that far. Right here. Okay. So, like I said, you have 50,000 thoughts going on. Look at this right here, number 1. Read that on yet. Thank you. All right. So, number 2 says trauma changes the brain, but it doesn't change your identity. So, I want you guys to stop saying, I am this, I am that. No, you're not. That's not your identity. So even if you say I'm a survivor, you know how they'll say I'm a cancer survivor, I'm a rape survivor. That's still identifying with the trauma. That's not who you are. You're totally separate. It happened, but it's not who you are. So stop identifying. Stop speaking I am this and I am that connected to that trauma. Self-awareness can help you face any crisis with lower stress levels, less emotional reactivity, fewer unintentional consequences. Okay, I'm gonna read that again. Self-awareness. This is what I'm trying to get y'all to see. This is emotional intelligence. Be aware of your thoughts. Know what you're doing. Know where you are. Know where your baggage is. Because self-awareness can help you face any crisis with lower stress levels, less emotional reactivity, some of y'all extra, and fewer unintentional consequences. Okay? So when you're doing the most, there are consequences to that. Now you got to deal with it. We're going to get into some of the stuff that we do. All right? And then I'm saying that what can we do to kind of work with this? Cognitive behavioral therapy. That's my favorite. Because cognitive behavioral therapy deals with the thoughts. It deals with the thoughts that are driving the behavior. So you could use that for any diagnosis. You can use that even if you don't have a diagnosis. You're just in a relationship that's not working, or you're just stressed out, or you don't know where you want to go. You thought you were climbing the corporate ladder only to find out that it was leaning against the wrong building. Now you're like, what? You can... Cognitive behavior therapy will help you get in touch with your thoughts and be able to dispute those unwanted thoughts and get clarity and get back on track. Okay, so now we're going to go to cognitive distortions. Okay, so we're still talking about your thoughts here. And I know some people like cognitive distortions really, let me just say, it's just funky thoughts. It's irrational thoughts. It just don't make any sense. And it keeps you in a tizzy, keeps you stuck. It's negative thoughts, okay? Distorted thoughts mean it's not real. It's skewed, it's twisted. Okay, so cognitive distortions are thoughts that cause a person to perceive reality inaccurately due to being exaggerated. Y'all ever know somebody that exaggerate? Okay, or just irrational. It makes sense to them, but to everybody else, it doesn't make sense. And they will swear out, because they feel it. All right. So over here we go, y'all. This is the good part. Here we go. Can you check out these pictures? Overcoming self-sabotage. What do you see in these pictures? What do you see? What do you think is going on? What's up with that? Who sleeps with their cell phone? Raise your hand. Cell phone in the bed with you. Raise them high. This this is a problem. This is listen. I seriously, guys, that's a problem. When you're wondering why you can't function and why you're just on all the time, you're not settling down. Even if the phone is not ringing, it's not no music, it's off. I don't have mine on 5G. It's still radiation right by your head. Look. That's why they tell us to get the little ear things because it's radiation by your head. Don't even put it in your pocket, lady. Well, men too, I guess, but I'm a lady. So I'm a lady. so, it's going close to our reproductive parts. Like we just do anything with this phone. We have to be careful and cognizant, okay? What's going on here? What do you think is happening with this person? Depression. Yes. That person is very overwhelmed. They have no energy, no motivation, and they stuck. They stuck. Do you think this person is just like a lazy bum? They just don't want to do nothing. Look at their house. Y'all think they lazy? What do you think is going on with them? Yeah, they're overwhelmed. I'm gonna tell you what's happening with this person right here. They out doing everything. They're running in people's houses as a QMHP. They're cooking dinner for their husband. They're running around town running errands for their mama. They doing everything. And look, and I got it from her because, Mom, when I was growing up, she did stuff for everybody. People was in the house. I mean, she just is a giver. So like I said, that gets passed down. And now I'm doing that. But guess what my room be looking like? Well, not quite that. But it's not like I like it. Put it that way. It's because once we do for everybody else, we don't have anything left. We're pouring out. And we're empty. And guess what? We get in that bed, move the stuff over, go to sleep, do our notes or whatever we got to do, and get up and go again. Never filling up. Never even asking for stuff. We won't even ask for help. We won't even let anybody know that's a struggle where we need to rest. When we are resting, we're thinking of everything we need to do or we should be doing. We're guilting ourselves. We can't even sit down and rest without our mind keep going. And finally we like, you know what? Because when I get up, it's going to be all piled up. I may as well just, but look. And I want you to know something. When this is going on, imagine what's going on the inside. And this is how we get mental illness. This is how we get physical illness. Because that is an indicator. Okay, so this one right here, this is, go back. This one right here. That's self-medicating. That's impulsive and risky behavior. Who knows about that? Who knows about that? Do you understand that that's an escape? Because what's going on the inside, you don't want to deal with? Do you understand that that's medicating yourself? And then there's what? Unintentional consequences, because nobody want to be locked up. Nobody set out to be locked up. Nobody did. Nobody set out to be addicted to drugs. No, but you're trying to escape. So if you don't deal with this, you're self Sabotaging. Because these are the consequences. This is just a few, though. I could go on and on, but we don't have the time. Okay. So self-sabotage is the actions or thought patterns, both conscious and subconscious, that interfere with your long-term goals and overall well-being. Okay, it's interfering. You're self-sabotaging. It's actually a defense mechanism. It's when we refuse to consciously meet our innermost needs, mostly because we don't feel like we can handle them. So we got a need and we keep ignoring it. So we got to go self-medicate. We got to sabotage because we are refusing to deal with something. It's a defense mechanism. We self-sabotage when we're dealing with stressful situations, when we're dealing with past trauma. This is a good one. When we are protecting our self-worth in the face of potential failure, we will sabotage. You know how we sabotage? When we're facing potential failure, at least in our mind, perceived potential. No, we do. What do? We procrastinate. We wait till the very last minute to study for that test. We wait till the very last minute to put gas in the car. And then we breaking down and we late looking all crazy. Seriously. Y'all, I'm serious. And we grown folk. We know that the car can't go without gas. But what's going on? What's going on? We're putting it off. We're procrastinating. And like consequences to that. And then we praying, talking about, Lord, please let the car get, Lord, you know. All right. So these are the main categories. There's other categories, but I'm going to give you the main 3 categories of self-sabotage. The very first one is what, y'all? Say it again. What's the next one, y'all? Anybody guilty? All right. So we know that this is but did you know that perfectionism was self-sabotage? Did you know that before today? Yeah, did you think it was a good thing? Did anybody think, well, it's okay if you did. Did anybody think you thought perfectionism was a good thing? Let me tell you the difference. I'm going to tell you where you got hung up. Because some people confuse it with excellence. Perfectionism, excellence. It's 2 different things. Perfectionism will make you have an anxiety attack so fast that everything always has to be perfect. Things could not even get done because you'll have analysis paralysis because you're so busy trying to make it perfect. Sometimes good enough is good enough. Because if you have analysis paralysis, you get nothing done. Would you rather have nothing or a B? You know what I mean? Are you trying to do all this to get an A and then you end up with an F? Because you procrastinated to the last minute. Because your anxiety, Andre, stop laughing. He laughing at me. Because that's me. My anxiety will get me and I will call him. Andre, help me write the paper. Perfectionist. It got to be right. Do it over and over and over. And I haven't even got half of it done and it's due tomorrow. Here's another one. Main category of self-sabotage, self-medication. Anybody know anything about self-medication? Now that comes in a lot of ways. Like some things that we might think about, like maybe drugs or alcohol, right? That's the one most people think about. But what are some other ways we self-medicate? Any food, coffee? How else do we self-medicate? Shopping? What else? Yes, that's definitely self-medicate. It's escaping. What about watching TV, binge watching your show? Yeah. What about social media? Yeah. Anything else anybody could think of that's self-medicating? Yeah. Yeah. What else? Well, we grown, right? Yes. 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 You get that high. Yes. Yeah. And then what about, yes, there you go. I was trying to figure out a nice way of saying it. Yeah. But we do. We don't have to think. I just want to feel better. Let me medicate. So, procrastination, perfectionism, and self-medicate. Now, I want to say something else about procrastination. So I asked you guys, was that person lazy? You said no, they're overwhelmed, they're depressed, they're pouring out and not pouring in. But procrastination is definitely a emotional response. And there's different types of procrastinators. There is a procrastinator that I call the rebel. And that is a person that, in their mind, they don't want to do nothing if they don't like it or they don't think it makes sense. So, like you at work, they want you to do something and you think it's ridiculous. Or your wife wants you to do something and you like, you know what? I don't even know why. I don't. And so you put it off, you put it off, you put it off, you put it off. So I call that the rebel. It's an emotional response. It's like rebellion. Because in your mind, everything has to be linear. This just don't make no sense. And so you put it off. And sometimes it's subconscious. The other one is boredom. If a task is like a drudgery to you and you're bored easily, you're going to keep putting it off. Yeah. The other thing is anxiety. Anxiety will have you waiting and waiting and waiting and I don't know and kind of going through changes. And then it's the last minute, you know? And then some people get a buzz off of waiting to the last minute and then going full throttle. You ever know anybody like that? You know somebody like that? Yeah. And then when they accomplish the goal, they feel good, but their heart is right. They're stressed out. They wait till the very last minute and something kicks in. And so, it's an emotional response, is my point. Okay, so I'm going to move on. Oh, you guys see this guy balance? It's a balancing act between the reward you get and the risk you take. Okay. All right. So now I want you to know that self-sabotage it comes from evolutionary roots. It's part of how we are wired as human beings. It's in our DNA. It's a basic primal instinct to attain reward and avoid threat. Like the picture we just saw, the risk. And it's fight or flight. Has anybody ever heard of fight or flight? It's hardwired in us. So when you, that's supposed to be start, sorry. When you start to avoid more than attain reward, when you're avoiding the threat more than you're trying to obtain the reward, fight or flight is triggered. And it's fueled by negative self-talk. So this is a balance that we're all doing anyway, because this is just how it is. We're driven to attain a reward, or we're driven to avoid a threat. But when you get to avoiding the threat, so you got to balance it more than you are going for the reward, then that's when that anxiety kicks in. And that's when you start self-sabotaging. Life happens. So this is an acronym you can use to remember what's at the root. Now, I just told you that, it's a fight or flight. We are kind of wired for rewards and avoiding threats. But there's also some other things underneath self-sabotage. And you can use the acronym LIFE to help you remember it. So L is for low or shaky self-concept. Do you guys know what self-concept is? Or can someone give me an example of low self-concept? Yes, who you believe you are. And so if it's a low self-concept, what is it? You don't think much of yourself. And sometimes it could be up and down, so that's shaky. When you have a low self-concept, somebody can say something to you, April. April, I'm so proud of you, girl. You just doing the doggone thing. Wow. I wish I could be like you. I'm really proud of you, sis. You're really inspiring a lot of people. You're really doing it. How do you feel? Just period. When I'm just, how does that feel? Does it kind of make you happy? Make, especially depending on who it is. Like if it's your grandma, your mom, your auntie, that really just does it for you, you know. But what if somebody said, you know what, girl, you do the most. You know, everybody think that you got it all together, but I see you, and you need to get it together because I'm over it. I'm over you. You know, you need to just sit down somewhere and stop, acting like you got it together because I know. Now, how do you feel? Because April said, I don't give it, Kitty. I don't give a. Okay, so let's talk about somebody with a low self concept. Because April gonna say, you know what? But yes, it makes you feel bad. It could even make you feel depressed if you already have a shaky the way you look at yourself, the way you feel about yourself. So my point is that something external can take you up or take you down. Something outside of yourself can take you up 1 minute and down the next minute. So you have to deal with what's in here. You have to build up your self-concept because things are going to happen. And if you internalize, then guess what? You're going to self-sabotage. Okay? So I is internalized beliefs. So we have certain belief systems. We get them from different places. I think it was on an earlier slide. You can get them from your caregiver. You can get them from trauma. You can get them from just how you grew up, watching somebody else, and you believe this about yourself. Maybe someone was telling you this, or maybe you were just watching how they navigate through the world. Like if you have like an avoided attachment style and you avoid in relationships, or you have an anxious attachment style and you got to be up under somebody, you pick that up. But if you have internalized these negative internalized beliefs, you're going to self-sabotage. You'll sabotage relationships. You'll sabotage jobs. You'll sabotage. And you won't even know it. You're constantly getting triggered. Okay? So the F is fear of change or fear of the unknown. So if you're operating in fear, I just went through this week. Something very important to me, somebody threatened to take it away. And I went through a whole lot of changes because I worked hard. Like they just have in my mind, they really didn't have the power. But in my mind, I let my mind, what did I say earlier? Those negative thoughts fuel it. Fear of the unknown. Okay, so we need to build up our faith, build up our resiliency on the inside so that we're not tossed and turned by these fears, okay? Because if we are, we're going to sabotage. And when you're constantly sabotaging yourself, you can't get anywhere. You just keep going in the same circle, you're frustrated, and you're just not understanding, but we are doing it to ourselves. Okay, so the last one, the E, y'all going to like this one. What did it say? What y'all think about that? If you have an excessive need to control, what you think you're going to do? Because we know that we can't control everything. So we're going to be doing the most. We're going to be manipulative. And some of this is subconscious. That's why I said the self-awareness and the emotional intelligence is very important. Because you're manipulating now. You going through changes because you can't control. I'm going to show you how to mitigate that. I'm going to show you some tools to help you with that. But I want you to kind of think. Everybody is different. Everybody's situation is different. I want you to think of what you feel like you need to control. What is your thing? Is it your kids? Is it at work? What is it for you? Okay? Self-awareness, you have to reflect on these things. Sometimes they don't come to you just like that. You can also talk to somebody who knows you well. because they sometimes that you trust, okay, just don't be asking anybody, but that you trust, they can help you identify this in your life. Okay, so overcoming self-sabotage, this is what we want. We want to know that it's happening, how it's happening. You know, we're dealing with the baggage, all these thoughts. So overcoming self-sabotage, you want to ask yourself, what need is not getting met? Remember we talked about there's a need and that we sometimes are afraid that we can't handle it or what have you. So the other question you may ask yourself, and this is like in your journaling time. So if you're writing this, these are prompts that you can do in your time of reflection. What am I afraid of? Am I taking care of myself? What does that look like? What does taking care of yourself look like? Am I showing up for me? I show up for everybody else. Am I showing up for me? Am I tired by the time I get to me? Am I setting boundaries? Am I setting healthy boundaries? Am I eating properly? Am I exercising? Am I dropping my baggage and operating in forgiveness and gratitude? Am I doing my self-reflection and keeping my thoughts, experiences, and lessons? And I'm keeping these, the ones that serve me, and I'm saying goodbye and releasing the ones that don't, like I did when I did the demonstration. Am I doing that? Or am I just kind of status quo, automatic pilot? You know, I'm just trying to just keep going, just trying to make it. And I don't even know what's going on with me. Am I releasing things? Am I operating in gratitude or forgiveness? These are good prompts. Okay, so I have another acronym. We had LIFE. You guys remember what LIFE is? Lower shaky self-concept. What's I? Yes, internalized beliefs. What is F? Yes, of the unknown and change. And what is E? Excessive need for control. Yeah. So now I have another one. This is something that you can kind of do a self-check, right? So halt the BS, okay? So never get too hungry. H is for hungry. Never get too angry. A is for angry. Never get too lonely. Never get too tired. Now who know what the BS is for? Don't say the other thing, because it's not that. It's not that. Never get too bored. And never get too stressed. And this is an easy way to remember it, how to do a self-check, because any of these things go too far to the right and you'll self-sabotage. You're going to react. Okay? That was procrastinate, perfectionism, medicate. There's other ones, but these are the main ones. Okay, so we're still in the process of overcoming our self-sabotage, our patterns. So orient yourself to your values. You want your behavior to match your values. If it's not, you're probably going to self-sabotage. Okay? Because it's an inner conflict happening. All right? So what are some of your values? Anybody want to kind of throw some out there? Anybody? Victor? That's a value. That honesty. That's not always an easy one either. Andre? It's a value. What do you value? Okay. 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 You want to be real? Okay. One more. I don't know your name. Love. Yes, that's a good one. That's a good one. So we want to make sure we're operating. We want to kind of line them up, do a check, and see if our behaviors and our thoughts even match that. Okay? Like I said, cognitive behavioral therapy is good for overcoming self-sabotage. Now, acceptance and commitment therapy. I'm going to tell y'all what that is. Can you think of like something that happens that you really just don't want to happen in life. Say you wreck your car, or somebody you love is sick, or you're trying to get somewhere and the bridge goes up, you can't control it, but you're supposed to be speaking. And how do you operate with that? And you feel in some kind of way. How do you shift? So acceptance and commitment therapy, what you do is you have what we call a selfless concept. Okay, so you step back and you just become the observer. You don't connect to what's happening. You don't connect to the thoughts. You just kind of say, I had a thought. It's no judgment to it. It's no attachment to the outcome. It's no, well, I'm bad because I had that thought, or, that way there's no emotion. There's no behavior that comes behind the feeling, because remember, the thought, the feeling, and then the behavior, right? And the behaviors can have consequences, right? So if we could step back and become the observer of life, even when it's not good, we just watching it happen like we watch TV. Now, I'm not talking about dissociation, because then that could be a problem if you do that too much. You might end up with, what is it? They changed the name, identity dissociation disorder. Yeah, so what you want to do is just kind of step back and not attach yourself and not judge. That's it. You're not in denial. So we're accepting what's happening. We're not trying to change it. We're not trying to buck it. We're not trying to control it. We just accept it. And when you accept something that's kind of like seems crazy, then you can kind of peacefully decide how you're going to move. Now, I get to decide how I'm going to move. I'm not reacting. I'm not caught up. Does that make sense? Okay. So, like I said, the selfless context, you want to reframe your thoughts. So reframing your thoughts basically is when a negative thought comes, or a thought that is irrational, you come back with another thought that corrects it or that modifies it. And that's how you can keep yourself from having an emotion or having a behavior. It takes practice. Sometimes you may have something that's really strong on you. You have to do that 10 times a day, 20 times, 15 times. It takes practice. You can't just give up. And then you'll become good at it. It's like muscle memory. But if you don't practice, it's going to have control of you. It'll have you crying. It'll have you fussing out your boo or whatever. Spanking your kid when you really should have been patient. Walking off your job, fighting somebody, jumping in their face, and we grown, but hey. All right, so I just talked about observe without judging. Don't attach to the outcome. And here's another one. You got to remember who you are. Mom says that all the time. Remember who you are. So if you got these value systems, and you are the grandchild of Madeline and Leonard Powell, you got to remember, you don't roll like that. And see, after you do, if you're like me, everybody's different. But after I come out my bag, I feel bad. I weep. Because why? It conflicts with my values. That's not who I am. That's not how I want to be seen. That's not how I want to feel. But it happened. Because I didn't do this. You understand? And you don't want that too many times, because what? Unintentional consequences. You now in jail, or your room is a mess, or whatever. You're not functioning well. And things have a snowball effect. It may start off small, but keep going. Keep doing it. So remember who you are. Understand that your identity is separate than your experience. Just because it happened, that doesn't say nothing about you. We'll say stuff to ourselves in our mind. I'm just a screw up. I'm always messing up. I'm always late. I'm this, I'm that. It's not your identity. It's an experience. It's an event. It ain't you. Okay. So this is the conclusion, but before I go here, there was a slide that was cognitive distortions. I want to go back. We don't have to go back to the slide because I thought that I had an additional slide, but I'll just tell you guys. I want to give y'all examples of cognitive distortions. Cognitive distortions, again, are irrational thoughts that go through our mind that I'm wanting you guys to dispute. I want you to practice that. So I want to give you some examples so you know what they look like when they're coming. You can identify them. So one type of distorted cognitive distortion, or we could just say distorted thought pattern, is black or white thinking. That's an example. Do y'all know what that is? Anybody? Yes. Yes. One extreme to the other. There's no in the middle. This is how I think. Either it's black or it's white. And that's a problem. You can't operate like that. You know, I used to tell my daughter, if you're not flexible, you're going to have a hard life. You got to be flexible. You can't be all or nothing all the time. You can, but you're going to be, suffering. Another one is catastrophizing. Do y'all know what catastrophizing is? What do you think it is? What does it sound like? Yes, catastrophic. Yes. Good. Yeah. So always thinking the worst. Always going to the extreme and tripping like, oh my God, this is going to happen. That's going to happen. You get a headache and you're going to die. It's always a catastrophe. Huh? Yeah, I mean, so you think about how that operates in your life. Everybody's different. It looks different. Can somebody give me an example of maybe when they did that? Because I can give an example that may not resonate. Anybody got an example of catastrophizing, or anybody they know if it ain't you? Yes. Or how about if you hear a noise at night and you live alone and your dog is like 12 years old? You hear a noise. He ain't gonna protect nobody. but you hear a noise and then it's like, I just go see if I hear it again. I think somebody's breaking in and it's just a little tree limb, hitting the vinyl siding. But I'm like, Prince, he dead asleep, half dead. So that's catastrophizing, always thinking the worst. That's just my example, but I want you to think about your own, because a lot of these thoughts are subconscious, or they're so automatic. Like I said at the beginning of the presentation, they're so automatic that it's hard to integrate new thoughts. It has to be intentional. What's another example? Blaming. Always blaming somebody else or something else. Always this is an excuse. It's never anything you did, just blaming. That's distorted. Always. Here's another one. Always having to be right. That's a distorted thinking pattern. Anybody know anybody like that? They're never wrong, never apologize, know everything. That's distorted. It's not healthy. And it'll cause you to sabotage. It'll cause you to sabotage relationships, and we don't perceive ourselves sometimes. So that's why I'm saying we have to do self-reflection. And if you think that it might be a challenge, get somebody that you know, that you trust, that cares about you, and talk to them. Get some feedback. What's another one? Anybody know any more? Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yes. Perceived slights is what we call it. Perceived slights. Like nobody's doing that to you, but you perceive that they are. Um, oh, minimizing. Like this it's all right. That ain't nothing. Your arm, you gashed your arm. It's bleeding. Like you might need to go. Oh, it's all right. It's just, isn't that wrong? It don't even really hurt. just minimizing things. You ain't paid your mortgage in 3 months. Like, what you think gonna happen? You can't minimize stuff. It's consequences. Okay, anybody know anymore? So I had a slide, so now I got to try to go on memory. But it's a lot of them that we have to be aware of. I want y'all to look it up. AI is, everywhere. Look up distorted thinking patterns and see if any of them connect to you, and then work on it. Okay, so we're going to recap this. So mental wellness is extremely important. We know that. We know that people who are well value themselves, they invest in themselves, they are emotionally intelligent, they are resilient. These are qualities that I want to have. They're able to step back and be an observer of life, even when it's crazy. They understand sometimes stuff hurts and they got to go through it. They know how to keep up the pressure and level up so that they can keep going forward. They don't quit. They don't fall apart because they are what? Resilient. These are aspects of mental wellness. They have good relationships, good social skills. They're able to communicate, resolve conflict without going off the handle. They get overstimulated. They know to sit down and reset so it doesn't get so crazy that you have an anxiety attack or you just need to go lay down for 3 days. I'm tired now. I just can't function. And so, all right, so you want to develop that emotional intelligence and resilience. So we talked about the things that get in the way of that. We had the acronym LIFE, remember that? We had HALT, the BS, remember that? And so we want the practical strategies and tools to overcome self-sabotage. So we talked about ACT, acceptance and commitment therapy. We talked about cognitive behavioral therapy. We talked about getting your support systems, your accountability partners. We talked about self-reflection. These are the things that we can do to, we talked about, I was going to say rebuke, but dispute your distorted thoughts. I guess you can rebuke them too, but yeah, halt the BS so we never get tired. Well, what is it? The H is what? Hungry, angry, lonely, tired, bored, or stressed. So take your temperature. Take your temperature. Don't just keep going on automatic pilot till you crash. Be responsible for yourself. Love yourself. Make yourself the most important thing instead of constantly pouring out and not pouring in. Be responsible for yourself. So what else we got? Get out of your comfort zone. So we're using these practical tools again. You have the power to change your mindset and overcome self-sabotage. I want you to know that. Stay committed to your mental wellness journey and continue to invest in yourself. Okay, so Apostle, did you still want to do the question and answer? Where'd she go? Oh. So I didn't know if, I hope you guys were writing. I hope you received it. If you give me some feedback, did it resonate with you? You have any questions for me? Got some money from me. Are you going to do the question and answer?
Yes. Yeah. How's everybody doing? Everybody doing fine? Yeah. That's a good thing. Really? Thank you, sir. I'll come. You better come to my yeah, you can talk to them. That's my son. So he's gonna be teaching tomorrow. She went through a lot.
the categories.
The three categories of self-love.
Self-medication.
All right.
Oh, people gonna answer some questions now.
She talked about y'all using your energy, we have to use your energy, and she got results from it.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
All right, there was give them another question.
What is resilience? And how do you obtain?
One at a time.
Yeah, y'all can look at y'all notes. Yes, and face adversity without. So you want to be able to. I just want to add a little bit to that. So you want. So resilience is that, but you also want to be able to face adversity and still keep your psychological well-being.
All right, you talking about self-care.
Yes. So what was I telling you guys about taking care of yourself and taking responsibility for yourself, showing up for yourself? Can someone give me some examples that I had shared with you? Did y'all hear the question? Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, 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 yes. Yes.
Money coming down.
Remember, yes. 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 Come get the money.
Oh, you don't want it. We both got money. Tell me about money there.
Let me ask another one. Okay, let me see. What?
You know that picture?
Yes. So the picture where the person's room was all a mess. What did that represent? Yes. And what was happening? Yes. Yeah. So but it was like everybody's talking at once. Just one person answer? Yeah.
You.
I know that's right. Let's see. What is motivation? Yeah. Yeah. What? Okay. Yes.
All right, guys. All right, we just got one more giveaway.
One more. Let me make it a good one. What is distorted thinking? What is cognitive distortions?
No. What you got, baby?
A little. Give me a little more. Yeah. Give me some examples. Yes. There you go. Well, I appreciate y'all. I hope y'all got something out of it. And I just want to say one more thing. I'm just really glad to be here. I feel like I'm at home. I feel like your energy is connecting with my energy, and it's going to take us all higher. I feel like we're going to get so much out of this conference. I can't wait to get my credit together. So, you guys, I love all of you.
You want to give a shout out to Mother. This is Dana's mother right here. Let's give a shout out to her. Thank you so much for allowing us to have her. Thank you for spanking her. Thank you for choking her. Thank you for getting on her. I really do appreciate it. Your mother.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a miracle.
All right. Wasn't that awesome? All right. So listen, we're going to take a break, and then there is lunch, but lunch is on its way, but there's still snacks and stuff back there for you guys to eat on. So I want you to take a break. I want you to, you know, church folks all the time. It's always church, but I told him we weren't doing church today. He wanted to hug. You know how to go around church and do all that hugging? Hey, I got a question. How many like to be hugged in church? You like to be hugged in church? He's a hugger. How many a hugger? How many is a hugger? Oh, no, Mama, you're fine. Mama, you're fine. Because people around here are huggers, right? Notice that people around here is huggers. Just shake my hand. No. All right, so listen, I want you guys to just, you know, get some snacks. When the lunch comes in, we'll make sure you guys have it. But please greet. Where are my counselors? I need all the counselors to stand up. Come on, counselors, stand up. BTS counselors, stand up. One just went out. Yeah, so we have a great counseling team here. They are, not only are they great counselors, they are anointed. So I thank God for what he's doing in their lives. So again, we thank you guys for coming. I'm so super excited. So we're gonna let you get a bathroom break, get you something to snack on, right? And then we coming back to hear none other than Dr. Delandro. Right? I'm telling you, if your credit messed up, I promise you got your books. All right. You can tell who's her mentor, right? So I'm so super excited because I'm seeing the results, right? Even though I'm their mentor, I still learn from them. I still learn from them. We push each other. And I'm telling you, I get excited when they give me a little alert. I'll be running. I can be with a client. I'm like, hold on, sugar. I'll be right back. I need to see my 1 point go up, right? Because I got a vision. See, I want one of them coaches. You know them coaches where you drive down the road? You know what I'm talking about? I don't want the one, yeah, is it called an RV? I don't want the one that attached to the back of the car. See, I want to be in the car while they drive. I got some places to go. And so I need that coach, right? I'm not asking for an airplane. I'm asking for, you said an RV? I need an RV that's really pretty, you know, with white, my TV in there, all of that. You know, we just riding. So, Mama said it's done. Thank you, Mother.
A miracle.
Yes, ma'am.
It's done.
Yes, ma'am. I received that. Yes, ma'am. I received that. So I'm getting ready to go to the RV dealership. All right. Yes, ma'am. And you can't drive it. Y'all don't want Jason driving, y'all. No, ma'am. No, sir. No, Jason. I don't mind traveling with Jason, but Jason cannot drive with me. Jason can't drive because we'll be fighting. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Yeah, Jason want to stop 50 times in a 3-hour drive. 3-hour drive. He want 50. No, we can't do that with you, Jason. No. Don't he got to stretch his legs, right? He'll be all right. He better learn how to do like this and keep on going. All right, guys. So listen, counselors, make sure you introduce talk to everybody, mingle with everybody, and I say we want to give us about 20 minutes. Give you guys time to go to the restroom and come on back. All right. All right.